A nervous White House guest loses control of their golden retriever until President Trump steps in with a command no one saw coming. The White House lawn buzzed with a quiet hum of conversation as community leaders gathered for a special event. Warm sunlight filtered through the trees, the rustling leaves blending with the low murmur of voices. Men and women in crisp suits lingered near the iconic white columns, shaking hands, trading smiles, while Secret Service agents stood still as statues, their eyes sweeping the crowd. Among them stood Michael Carter, a small-town mayor from Ohio, shifting nervously near the edge of the gathering. By his side sat Max, his golden retriever, well-behaved for now, golden fur glinting in the afternoon light. Michael had brought Max hoping he'd be a light-hearted conversation starter. But now, fidgeting with the leash, Michael was beginning to second-guess that decision. His hands trembled. His collar felt too tight. He wasn't used to this level of pressure. After all, just a few feet away stood the President of the United States. Donald Trump stood at the center of the lawn, his trademark red tie bold against a dark navy suit. He'd just finished a brief but booming speech on community leadership, and now he worked the crowd with practiced ease, shaking hands, flashing that familiar smile, nodding to old faces and new ones alike. The mood was upbeat, cordial, but Michael could barely register it. His nerves buzzed louder than the conversations around him. What if Max acted up? What if he ruined the moment? What if he ruined the moment? Then, just as the thought crossed his mind, it happened. A squirrel darted across the pristine lawn, a flicker of movement, too tempting for Max to ignore. His ears perked, his tail started whipping back and forth, and before Michael could tighten his grip, Max lunged forward. The leash slipped. Max was gone. He bolted toward the commotion, leaping, barking, paws pounding the grass, his excitement unleashed in every joyful yelp. Michael's face flushed red. His heart thudded in his chest as he shouted, "Max, come back! Max, stop!" But Max wasn't stopping. His playful barks grew louder, echoing through the startled crowd. Heads turned, gasps followed. A few guests stepped back, uncertain if this charging dog was a threat. Others chuckled at the chaos unraveling in real time. Secret Service agents snapped to motion, hands raised to earpieces, closing in on the rogue retriever with precision. Michael stood frozen in panic, calling out, voice cracking, "Max, please, come here." No use. He could feel it, every eye locking onto him. The red-faced mayor from a small Ohio town, now the center of attention for all the wrong reasons. He dared a glance toward Trump, bracing for disapproval, embarrassment, even fury. But the president wasn't scowling. He was watching, expression unreadable, one hand still raised mid-wave. The agents were nearly on Max now, one lunging for the trailing leash. But Max was too quick. He swerved, tail high, barking with gleeful rebellion. His joy was unstoppable. And Michael, he could already see the headlines. Local mayor's dog disrupts White House ceremony. Michael's hands trembled, his heart pounding loud enough to drown out the noise around him. This is a disaster, he thought. This is going to be everywhere by morning. Local mayor's dog disrupts White House event. He could already see the headlines chasing him back to Ohio. Frantic, he lunged forward, determined to catch Max himself. And then a voice cut through the chaos like thunder. "Sit." One word, firm, commanding. No doubt who it came from. It wasn't Michael. It wasn't the Secret Service. It was President Trump. And just like that, the entire lawn froze. Conversations died mid-sentence. The breeze itself seemed to pause. All eyes turned. Mid-leap, Max stopped cold. His paws hit the grass with a soft thump. He turned his head toward the voice, ears perked and twitching. And to everyone's shock, he sat. Right there in the middle of the White House lawn, Max dropped into a perfect sit. His tail wagged slowly, but he stayed put. Eyes wide, fixed on Trump like a soldier awaiting his next order. Michael couldn't believe it. He stood frozen, hands still outstretched, mouth slightly open. Around him, the crowd fell into stunned silence. The rustling leaves were the only sound, brushing gently above their heads. Even the Secret Service agents paused, their hands suspended mid-action, unsure whether to keep moving or let this surreal moment play out. Trump lowered his hand from the wave, that familiar smirk curling at the corner of his mouth. Calm and collected, he stepped forward, shoes sinking just slightly into the grass. His eyes met Max's, and he gave a satisfied nod. "Well, I'll be," he said, his voice low and casual. "Looks like someone knows how to listen." A ripple of laughter broke the silence. Small, tentative, the kind people let out when they're not sure what just happened, but know they've witnessed something worth remembering. Michael, still reeling, managed to find his voice. I'm so sorry, Mr. President," he stammered. "I didn't mean for—" He's usually so calm, I swear. Trump raised a hand, cutting him off mid-sentence, smirk deepening. "Relax, Michael. I've dealt with worse than a happy dog." With that, he bent down slightly, extending a hand to Max. The golden retriever leaned forward, pressing into the president's palm as he scratched behind his ears. Max let out a soft, satisfied huff and thumped his tail against the ground. Michael blinked in disbelief. The color still hadn't returned to his face, but the panic, the crushing weight of humiliation, was beginning to fade. He wasn't being scolded. He wasn't being escorted off the property. The President of the United States had just calmed his dog with one word. Trump straightened, casually brushing his palms together like the moment had cost him nothing at all. He looked over at Michael with a glint of amusement in his eye. "You know," he said, his voice easy, "I learned that trick from a military dog trainer years ago. Best in the business. Said, if you can command a dog, you can command a room." He let out a chuckle, scanning the stunned crowd around him. "Guess it still works." The guests responded with light applause, scattered at first, then growing as more people joined in. Some clapped with genuine admiration. Others were still trying to process what they'd just seen. The president commanding a stranger's dog with nothing more than a single word. Michael stepped forward at last, hand trembling as he reached for Max's leash. The golden retriever remained perfectly seated, tail swishing gently across the grass. "Thank you, Mr. President," Michael murmured, still awestruck. I don't even know what to say." Trump waved it off with a grin. "Don't mention it. Just keep that dog on a tighter leash next time." Then, without missing a beat, he turned back to the crowd, raising his hand high in a farewell wave, his red tie catching the sunlight like a banner. "Great to see all of you. Let's keep making America great." This time, the applause swelled louder. The tension that had gripped the lawn minutes ago was gone, washed away by shared laughter, disbelief, and the charm of an unexpected moment no one could have scripted. Trump turned on his heel, his suit jacket catching the breeze as he walked back toward the White House. The white columns loomed behind him, perfectly framing his exit like the final scene of a film. Michael stood frozen, Max now calmly sitting at his side like none of it had ever happened. The lawn buzzed again, conversations reigniting, laughter mixing with curiosity. But everywhere, one story began to circulate among the guests. "Did you see that? Did you see what the president did with the dog?" A moment of chaos, a single command, a silent lawn, and then order. It was something they wouldn't soon forget. If you love this surprising White House moment, make sure to subscribe to Regal Stories for more unforgettable scenes just like this. Drop a comment below. What would you do if your dog ran loose in front of the president? We'll see you in the next story. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button.